This is your host GS, and I'm in front of my '09 Lamborghini Gallardo LP560-4. I've had the car for closing in on a year now. Before I jump into doing a lot of mods on the car, I just want to do some baseline runs of the drag strip. I was hoping for about 11.5, in the mid 120s, which is about what they should test factory. The only mods to the car that affect performance really is there's an aftermarket exhaust that came with the car, and then I put on some lightweight wheels. The thing that surprised me is, I wasn't expecting the car to essentially kind of fall apart on the track, as you'll see. But hope you enjoy the video. All right, first run in sport mode, no Corsa. Can't even hear myself. This Camaro next to me is so loud. Ugh. So I'm gonna do Corsa mode this time, ESP off, so I can do full on launch control and see if I can get below 11.8 or so. My mile per hour isn't great. It's about 119, so at least I have the window shut this time, so it shouldn't be as as slow on the top end. But we'll see what happens. Thank you. You have a good night. What'd you run? So at this point, we're just chatting about the last run and how we're going to be heading out. So what's funny at this point is I go around, check to make sure the car is all good, everything's fine. So we leave the track, and about an hour later, my buddy that I'm with calls me up and says, "Hey, there's something wrong with your car." And then this is what I see on the back. So the diffuser is completely ripped off the car, took the license plate with it, and also I had no idea when it actually got ripped off of the car. This is an hour after leaving the track, so I thought it could have come off on the highway. I had no idea that it was actually at the track. Eventually, I'm able to get in contact with Sonoma the next day because they'd already closed for the night. A few texts and pictures later confirmed, yep, they had my diffuser that had flown off at the very end of the track. And then I go and head back up there the next day to go pick it up. All right, let's go and get this car seat moved. Seat protector. Oh man, look at all these crumbs. And fries. Fries, toys, crumbs, kids. Come on. Charge faster. Ah, charge go. Let's go. All right, we are back. Time to go pick up what fell off my car. Oh man. Building L, where are you? Building L. Nice to meet you. Yeah, went, like I said, I haven't been out here to the drag strip in a while. I usually do road course. So cool, I'm like, all right, drove home. And we get to Oakland, and my buddy's like, hey, your car looks weird. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, your diffuser's gone. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? So,
good thing you called.
Okay, not that bad, honestly. I mean, I'll definitely toss it back on. Oh yeah, it ripped. Oh man. Yep. Okay.
A couple rags that way you don't scratch it, man.
Let's feed it through. All right, cool. Thank you. Have a good one. All right, got my diffuser a little beat up, but it'll work. All right, bye Sonoma. Hopefully next time you don't take more of my parts. All right, we're here gonna go and assess the damage to the car. So pretty much when it flew off, it yanked on the bumper pretty good. So we can see here, it broke one of the mounts. Down here, you can see it ripped off a tab. I'm not sure, these kind of look ripped. Looks like a fresh cut. Not really familiar with that piece, I'm not sure. Go along. Yeah, doesn't look great. And then this looks like it's a clean breakaway, so no damage to the bumper. So I think just the left. So looking up in here, you can see a little bit more of the damage done. Oh, there it goes. Yeah. So this just ripped completely off. I'm not sure how much we can fix that. The good part on this one is it is loose, but the bolt, it looks like it just wasn't there, so it didn't actually rip. So this side looks fine. We're now gonna go and do the back screws to get the cover off. Oh, I missed the screw. Next one is it. There we go. This one looks like it's broken. This one also looks broken. Yep. Yeah, generally just a lot of cracking. Yeah, just generally just not very happy after losing the diffuser. I think this may just had some old cracks and whatnot, but definitely it being ripped off wasn't helping anything. You can see there's a wire that was going to the bumper. This just got completely ripped off when it came off. So I'm pretty sure the core reason why this came off is that this was actually not installed properly from the shop that did this. If you go and look along this whole region, there is no mounting holes or anything. Compared to the stock bumper, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 mount holes per side. Really the main damage is on the left side, or the driver's side. So you can see this is where the mount just pulled completely off. And then down here, yeah, this bolt section ripped out. So I'm pretty sure this bumper is salvageable. Might have to go and do a little bracing on the back side, some metal, or some kind of epoxy for this plastic material. But I think we can save it, because these things aren't cheap. What I'm doing now is I'm actually going and filing this area down. That way I can go and put an additional washer in between. And so if you look here, if we put the old kind of washer in its place, I'm trying to fit this nylon washer kind of as a gap fill for the material of where it used to be. And so I'm just filing kind of this corner of it down. You can see from the previous location it has a little bit of a glue bead on it. We go and put this in here, and so there's our location, and I'll go and glue everything up. I'm gonna go and kind of just push this back into its place. I'm gonna use a little bit of the kind of like Loctite super glue to hit this bead in here, and once that's held in place, I'm then gonna come back and go and do additional bracing behind it. Alright, so both of my pieces are done for either side. So I have this kind of cut to the profile of the bumper, and then this is the kind of relief notches where the mount holes are. Also, you'll notice on the outside, I went and I roughed up the texture compared to the inside, which is just how I received the part. The idea here is that the epoxy will have a better surface to go and bond to. So what I'm going to do is epoxy all this in, and then once it's in and set, I'll then actually go back and drill this hole so that everything lines up well. Alright, to glue the brackets onto the bumper, I'm using some JB Weld. This has the super glue kind of to hold it, tack it in place. And then we're going to go and put in a couple kind of reinforcement brackets. Again, these are just some random angle brackets from Lowe's. We're going to unbend these slightly because if you notice, these brackets are at 90 but the bumper isn't. Clamping as close to the bend as possible. There we go. And then we're just prying it apart a little. And I'm just going to keep on doing this, unbending it and then manually checking it. Ah, thought that was hot. Ow, yeah. Didn't let the piece cool down and burnt my fingers a little, so let it cool down. Ow, that was stupid. With the surfaces roughed up, all I did was just take the sand wheel on the Dremel, and then you can see it kind of sits here. So there will be purposely a little bit of overflow on the material, but I'm just trying to create a good surface so that these two can bond together nicely. One of the things I try to do is reuse common items that you'd already throw away anyway. In this case, I'm actually first time trying this using a barbecue sauce cup as my epoxy mixing tray, instead of having to go and buy, you know, specialty trays. So this should work pretty well though. You can see I have the reinforcement brackets put in now with the JB Weld. Obviously it doesn't look the best, but this is going to hold very, very well. So this is the bottom where it cracked. So one of these you still have the mount, and then this other one is just an additional brace. And then up here is where it ripped off the bumper, and again, this is mounted in with a metal bracket, and then it has the JB Weld over it. And then on the top, I just went and filed it smooth, just so it's the same plastic interface to the rest of the car. So we're gonna go and toss this on and see how it fits. All right, we're in the back of the car now, and this is what I was referring to as far as the mounting not being complete. Now, obviously in the middle section, this here, and this section here, those are torn off. So it is possible that the carbon had extended up here and it was mounted, it just happened to tear off. But if you go over here, you'll notice this is a chassis mount. I just have kind of the diffuser mocked up. It's not an exact position, but you can see there's no hole here for where it's mounted. And then if you go over here, you can't see it because I don't have the wheel liner in here, but there's also additional screw points on the wheel liner. So essentially this entire edge here, all the way to here, for sure never got any mounting to the chassis. And potentially this was just tucked underneath, or even worse if it was just sitting here. So the thought is that you know, you're kind of on the track, you know, and you're getting to higher speed at, you know, highway speed, maybe it's just flopping, it's not really doing too much. But, you know, once you're at the drag strip, you're going 120 miles plus, this is starting to deflect down. And then you can imagine if it just moves just enough, that then it'll just create a huge parachute effect and then just, you know, catch all the wind. And eventually, as this bends down more, it's going to bend even more with more air because it'll catch more, and then eventually it's just going to rip right off, which is what happened. All right, since the diffuser has flown off the car at about 120 miles an hour, the carbon itself is kind of pre-weakened. And so what I'm going to do is add in some just aluminum flat bar, 1/8 inch thick, to give it some bracing, and then I'm just going to go and JB weld it to here. So the main mounting is here, and then I'm also going to run an additional section over here for another bolt. Again, this one was never actually bolted onto the car though. There are a few additional mounts that would usually go here, but it's for the wheel liner itself, and the wheel liner is severely cracked, so it's not going to provide any structural benefit. So I'm just going to focus on essentially getting really good mounting here and here. And then obviously that applies to both sides. All right, so next up, all we're gonna do is clean up the diffuser carbon itself, getting dirt, grime, whatnot off of it so that we can create a good bonding surface. All right, you can see the aluminum flat bar sticking through, and so we're just gonna go kind of push this into location, then mark our holes. We're looking through the right wheel. I haven't put on the liner yet, but you can see one of the mounts, and you know, this thing is on very secure now, so it is not coming off. I'm tugging it super hard. It's not moving anywhere. All right, so the car's all back together. Got the bumper and the diffuser patched up, so at least it has some strength with it now. You know, cosmetically, the repairs are obviously not perfect. I didn't do actually any cosmetic body work, so there is a little bit of a hairline crack here where it ripped off. From the bumper, that's really the only thing you can actually notice. Where it ripped off on the bottom, that's actually under this gap, so you can't even see it. The main damage was obviously the diffuser. So I mean, it has some flaking parts. You can see some cracking spider webbing here. This kind of damage, this area's hit. This is really the worst one. So this is probably where it hit the wall at the end of the run. So we have really bad cracking here, and just, you know, a whole bunch of scraping here. So that's the main reason why I decided not to, you know, bother trying to repair it, is that the damage is pretty extensive to the diffuser. So I'd rather just, you know, mechanically brace it, so at least that it will functionally work right now. I do plan on getting another diffuser, just not right now. I figure maybe at the end of 2020, after race season, I'll do it. I figure, you know, if I happen to do any gravel surfing or whatnot going off the track, I'll feel less guilty about damaging an already messed up diffuser as opposed to a nice new shiny one. So, but I think in general, it turned out pretty good. Definitely saved myself a lot of money, because I mean, you figure if you go and if I took this to a body shop, the aftermarket diffuser is like $3 grand plus, you know, if they're gonna go and do some Bondo work in here, they're gonna have to, you know, repaint this, match the color and everything. So I mean, I'd probably be out, you know, $4 or $5 grand, something like that. So about, you know, 20 bucks or so supplies from Lowe's and Harbor Freight and whatnot. I think it turned out pretty good. So anyway, until the next video, see ya.